Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Peace Jones. Don't forget to like this video, to comment on this video, and to subscribe to my channel, you guys. If you are new here, I do cover three main topics. Number one would be travel, solo travel in particular. Number two would be healing. I have a series called Heal With Me. And number three would be dating. And I have a series called The Dating Chronicles, okay? Tonight we are going to talk about a healing topic. So this is going to tie into the Heal With Me series, okay, you guys? Now, calling all of my black sheep. Come forth, come forth, come forth, come forth, come forth. Have a seat with me. Get your wine, get your water, get your green juice, your tea. Let's chat, all right? So, you guys, I'm sure you have all heard of the term black sheep, right? The black sheep of the family. I am the black sheep. My brother was the black sheep, whatever. And you may be wondering, what exactly is the black sheep, right? Now, of course, there's many definitions, but my personal definition for the black sheep is someone who was divinely designated in a family to break generational curses, to make a change, to change the narrative, to change the DNA, to change the perspective of that family for the better. And this person usually catches a whole bunch of flack for doing so. They can be made out to be a really bad person. They can be made out to look as if they are very dysfunctional or very rebellious. Oftentimes it's the child that everyone views as like the bad kid. Sometimes they tend to get into a lot of trouble growing up. They usually don't want to follow the rules and the norms. They have their own way of thinking, right? Very much so different, and it's usually pretty evident in the family who the black sheep is. And oftentimes the family doesn't treat this person very well, right? For me, I believe it's a spiritual thing. I do very much so believe that when you're breaking generational curses and you're making changes anywhere, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be within a marriage, whether it be within your family structure, the person who is making change is usually not loved by all, right? Because you're different. People don't like different. People don't like people who think outside of the norm, who have their own mindset, who are leaders, who are dominant, things like that. It bothers them. So instead of them saying, hey, I admire this in you, I wish I could be like that, they instead internalize that and mix it with their insecurities and make that person out to be a bad person when in actuality they aren't, right? So I've written down about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things that I wanted to touch on in the realm of black sheep, right? And these are just things that I've noticed. By the way, I don't know if I've said this, but I am the black sheep of my family, and this is why I can speak on it, okay? Now, just a little backstory. When I was younger, I didn't realize that I was the black sheep, right? I knew something was different about me, and I knew something was different about me versus my family members. And I knew something was different about how I was treated oftentimes, but I did not know what all of this was, right? It's only been in more recent years that we have really come out and started talking about like family trauma, generational curses, how to overcome certain things, how to deal with things, narcissistic parents, mental abuse, emotional abuse, whatever. And as a kid, obviously I felt things, right? But I didn't know how to put those feelings into words or like make sense of it because I wasn't aware of like the terminology or just what was really going on, right? And what my purpose was in my family and why I was being looked at like this or treated like this or whatever it may be, right? So let's get into it. Number one, the black sheep is born for a reason. Now, some people don't have the spiritual outlook on it that I do. But in my mind, I truly believe that in a family that has a bunch of turmoil and trauma, and this isn't just Black people, you guys, because a lot of white people, a lot of Hispanic people, a lot of Asian people, Indian people, whatever, they all have extreme, intense DNA genealogy, like extreme trauma built into their genetics, right? Built into their family lineage. Like, it's deep. It's deeper than just, oh, hey, you know, my mom beat me, or oh, hey, there's incest in my family, or oh, hey, I got molested. Like, it's deep. It runs deep, like generation after generation after generation, right? And so when a Black sheep is born, they are born with the task to either break that or begin the breakdown of that turmoil. Okay, so there's many Black sheep born into families, but sometimes they don't get to break down everything, right? So it may be, maybe your grandmother was a Black sheep and she broke down some of it, and now you're the next Black sheep, you're gonna break down some more, and then your great granddaughter is gonna break down some more, and things like that. Or maybe you could be the first one, you know what I mean? And so it's just it's a task that you're born with. And most of the times, a lot of the times, Black sheep are also empaths, right? And so we feel a lot, we're aware of a lot, we see a lot, even as children, that we know isn't right, we know isn't normal, we know it doesn't feel like proper family, it doesn't feel like proper love, it doesn't feel like proper support. But sometimes, like I said, in my case, it takes until you reach adulthood and you can better understand things and interpret your feelings to realize, okay, I am here for a reason. Okay, this wasn't right. Okay, I wasn't tripping. Now let me get my ducks in order and figure out what my mission is and how I'm gonna go about, you know, making a difference. Okay, so you are born for a reason, and don't ever forget that. Like, you have a mission here. Okay, number 2, we get the most heat because we don't conform. Okay, so I remember being a kid, and if you know me outside of like my online platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, you know that I'm like a very just hyper wild goofy person. I literally won class clown in high school, and to this day, mind you, I've been out of high school for 11 years now, and to this day, people look at my stories or whatever I post, and they're like, yo, you're the same. Like, you're almost 30 and you act the same. Like, you have never changed. People tell me that all the time. You still haven't changed. You're the same old girl. Like, you're still goofy as hell. And that's me. That's just my spirit. I'm high off of life. I remember at one point, my grandmother kept saying that I had ADHD because I was so hyper. Like, I wake up in the morning, 9 times out of 10, I'm hype. 9 times out of 10, I'm hype. I have a lot of energy. I'm silly. Like, that's just me, right? And so I think a lot of times people mistake that energy and that personality for, okay, she's just rebellious, right? And it's just like, she's just wild, she's silly, she can't be tamed, she's just rebellious, right? But I know that a lot of me not conforming, not wanting to do certain things, not wanting to participate in certain things, not wanting to believe in certain things, not wanting to follow certain things, comes from me having this Black sheep spirit, right? A leader, my own thoughts, my own thought processes, very strong personality, very aware, self-aware, aware of my capabilities, even as a kid, right? I was always a confident kid. I was always a confident person. And I remember not being rude to adults, but I remember like mentally challenging adults as a kid, where they would say like, this is right, or you should do this, or they would kind of like playing with other kids, they would kind of be like, oh well, you can't be too dominant over that, or you can't always make the rules with that, or da 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 da. And I remember like thinking in my head, like, I'm not going to be disrespectful to this person because they're an adult and I wasn't raised like that. But you're wrong. You're not approaching me correctly. What you're telling me to do is not correct. I don't have to do this. I don't have to conform this way. I don't have to play this way. And it wasn't that I was ever a mean kid. I was extremely nice and caring. In fact, my teachers used to always pair me with like either kids with disabilities or like new kids that didn't speak the American language or English language. And I just was always like a helper, you know, always a giver. The teachers knew I would be very kind, and like I was always a great leader, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I wasn't ready to just do what everyone told me because they told me that. If I thought in my head that that doesn't fit me, or that doesn't feel right, or that isn't right, even if an adult was telling me this, I would still in my head question those things. I wouldn't argue with them, but there was a lot of things I remember vividly as a kid being told to do or told to like allow, and it was just like, no, like this is not right. And I knew that as a kid, okay? So yes, we do get the most heat because people want us to conform to their ways, to society's ways. Listen, do this, you're a kid. But no, it doesn't sit well with us because we have such a leadership trait in us and such a fighter spirit in us and so much awareness that it just doesn't sit well with us, okay? Number 3. We're probably the most stable and successful individuals in our families, okay? Now, this can vary. Sometimes the black sheep, and I'll talk more about this, but sometimes the black sheep in the family loses themselves, right? And they lose themselves because they can't deal with all of the flack they're getting, all the negativity they're getting, the harsh words, the harsh treatment. Like I said, sometimes black sheep just are not welcome. They're not treated like everyone else. They're not celebrated like everyone else. So sometimes that gets to black sheep, and it can make them become depressed. It can make them want to give up. It can make them kind of fall back from their dreams and their goals because they are being brought down in so many other areas by so many people around them that it kind of, has an effect on them. However, a lot of black sheep actually take that pain and misfortune and turn it into greatness and success. And I'm one of those people, okay? And so it's crazy because a lot of times you will look from the outside in or even from the inside out at your family dynamic, and you'll say, well, if I was the kid that was this, and I was the problem, and I was rude, and I was crazy, and I was da-da-da, how did I end up with this job and this degree and this accomplishment and this? And it's just like, it doesn't make sense, right? It just literally confirms that this person wasn't all those bad things. This person wasn't, incapable and horrible and nasty. And like I said, that's that projection. Once again, when people see you, they see your capabilities. They know where you're going. They know what you can achieve. They see how intelligent you are. They then get angry at that or envious, and they want everyone to think, including you, that you are this incapable, horrible person. But if you keep your head in the game, you can clearly show that that's the opposite of what it is, right? You take all of that and use it as the fuel to push you into success, okay? So oftentimes you are the most stable and successful person in your family, though you are looked at as this black sheep or bad person because you're the goat. The black sheep turns into the goat, okay? All right. Next, and by the way, if you guys don't know what GOAT means, it's an acronym. It stands for greatest of all time. The black sheep oftentimes turns into the GOAT. All right, number 4, don't give up, even though it's challenging. Now, this ties into what I was just talking about, okay, you guys? A lot of times people will allow the negativity and don't get me wrong, it is hard. That's why you have to have a firm standpoint and belief in who you are. It's difficult because when you're getting it from all different ways, if you don't have a strong idea of who you are, confidence, resiliency, and the ability to block out haters, you will not make it through a lot of the things that you're gonna face as a black sheep growing up, okay? So it's gonna be challenging. It's gonna be difficult. Trust me, for a good amount of my life, I was not talked to nicely. I wasn't necessarily treated nicely. I was made to look a certain way. And I didn't necessarily have everyone on my side during those times. Now, granted, yes, I always had a friend group they knew Peace Jones was the GOAT. They looked up to Peace Jones, right? They supported Peace Jones and they were in my corner. I also had a bunch of adults that knew the situation. They could see it for what it was, and they knew my capabilities. They knew I was strong. They knew I was like an awesome kid, right? Mentors, teachers, things like that, right? So I definitely had a support system, but at the same time, there were a lot of people that didn't necessarily treat me nicely. You know what I mean? And so you as a kid, like I said, or a teenager and adolescent, even a grown adult, you have to endure that, but you have to know who you are, okay? And that's why to this day, like, you're not gonna ever break me. And I've had people try and do that. You're not gonna ever make me question who I am. Now, you could feel a way about me. You can feel like I'm this and that, but that's not gonna make me question myself, because I know who I am and I know my capabilities. I know what I put out. You know what I mean? And that's not coming off in a cocky manner. That's all confidence. A lot of people are out here trying to break down others because they see so many great things in you and they admire it and they become envious of it. Miss me with that, because the foundation's already been set and it cannot be broken. All right. So you guys, build up that tough skin. Do not give up. As challenging as it is, like, please, 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 stick with it. Stick it out. Do what you have to do to protect your peace. Move out. Work a lot. Find a good friend group. Get a good partner that's supportive. Mingle with like-minded people. Mingle with people that are also the black sheep. Go to therapy. Get a mentor. Do what you have to do, but do not give up the fight. It is challenging, okay? Next, we have people see the GOAT in you, but they won't always admit it, okay? So as the black sheep, trust and believe. Your mother that's treating you crazy, she sees the GOAT in you. Once again, GOAT is an acronym. It stands for greatest of all time. She sees your power, and this is where it can become spiritual too, which everyone doesn't have to believe. But I personally believe that with these generational curses and with a lot of family trauma, believe it or not, it's in our DNA, okay? Like, you have to remember, a lot of black people, they are descendants of slaves. Once you are treated a certain way, you're beat down, you're broken down, it affects you mentally and physically, and it becomes a part of your DNA. Trauma can be passed down through your DNA, okay? Then things like incest can be passed down. Things like molestation and like things, creepy sexual things like that, right? Then also like domestic violence, poverty. Like those mindsets can be passed down, right? So it's a lot deeper than just like, oh, my family's messed up. Oh, my family's messed up. It's in your lineage. These things have to be broken down, dismantled. Mindsets of generations have to be changed. DNA has to be settled. You have to find peace. You have to practice different, healing techniques, right? Like it's a whole freaking process, you guys, right? And so with that being said, your mom that's treating you like crap, she knows your potential. She sees your power. She sees your capability. She knows you're trying to, or you're about to make a substantial, profound change in this family's lineage, right? And so because of her issues and her unhealed spirits and her wounds, she's basically attacking you for that. That's the breakdown of it. Your brother that's beating you up and treating you like crap and, wanting all the attention while you get no attention and, you're not celebrated in the same way that he is. You don't get the same clothes that he does, blah, blah, blah. He sees your potential. He knows that you are great. He knows that you are possibly gonna be greater than him, smarter than him, more attractive than him, whatever it may be, right? Your grandfather that keeps on trying to touch on you or keeps on calling you ugly, or maybe you're the dark-skinned child in the family and there's some colorism going on, or maybe you have the nappy hair and your other siblings have the curly hair, or maybe you're overweight and your other siblings aren't. Maybe you have a speech disorder or some type of disability and you're being made fun of for that, right? All of these people, they see and they know that you are still overcoming that. They see you overcoming every obstacle. They see you fighting. They see that your heart is pure. And oftentimes with that empath aspect, you can be very sensitive, right? So that was me as a kid. I was very sensitive, but I was a fighter, right? Like despite, having to go off and cry somewhere because something hurt my feelings or not wanting to do certain things because of how it made me feel, I was still fighting through it. A strong kid, and to this day, a strong woman, okay? Like some of the things that I've had to overcome and understand and heal from on my own, it took a strong mind to endure, okay? So trust and believe. These people know you're the GOAT. They see your potential. They know where you're going. They know what you're doing, but they're not going to admit it, okay? Don't let that trick you out of being great. All right, next, break the cycles and create new and healthy traits. Okay, you guys. So like I said, a lot of what being the black sheep is tied to unhealthy cycles, generational curses, and just wild, evil, nasty traits from the people around you, right? And so you have this mission, like I talked about in the first tip or the first bit of advice, the first topic. You have this mission, you have this job to do here on earth, right? And within your family. And that is to reverse these cycles, break these generational curses, heal yourself, tame those DNA aspects that are just like off the chain, and work on those traits within the family, right? It seems unfair because it's like, this isn't my job. My mom did this to me. My uncle did this to me. My cousin did this to me. Why should I have to break it? Why should I have to have endured it and now I gotta fix it? No, they should have to fix it. They're the ones in the wrong. Nope, let go of that. As this amazing person that you are, this amazing specimen that you were created to be, you are beyond the average person. The average person would have to say, oh no, I don't like that. You did this to me. You got to fix it. Bye. That's your job. But this amazing person that you are, this different person that you are, this special person that you are going to take that and say, okay, you're unhealed. You're traumatized. You're not nice to me. you have very evil, very narcissistic, very nasty, very toxic traits. But I'm going to take your traits, his traits, her traits, their traits, and I'm going to work on fixing this. Because when I have kids, they're going to be healthy, and they're going to have healthy kids, and they're going to have healthy kids. And we're going to change this thing up, okay? When I get married, I'm going to be talking to my husband. We're going to make sure that some of the toxic things that we learned, we have unlearned. Some of the toxic traits that we've learned, that were okay in relationships, or things that are thought to be normal in relationships, but they don't feel good and they aren't necessarily helping us, right? Toxic parenting styles, beating on your kids, doing just crazy things that we've been taught was okay or normal. No, we're going to talk through that. We're going to communicate about that. We're going to make sure that we are doing what's best for the generations to come behind us, okay? So, you guys, break those cycles, learn new healthy cycles, go to therapy, understand yourself, understand your trauma, right? And I do want to let you guys know, I'm going to do a segment on this for my dating series, but every piece of trauma is not meant to go away permanently forever, right? You can work on yourself and you can learn healthy coping mechanisms. You can unlearn things, you can relearn things, you can deal with your trauma, you can heal from your trauma. But some things will trigger you for the rest of your life, right? There is a such thing as PTSD. There is a such thing as healing and still being triggered by certain things. So I don't want you guys to feel like you have to be perfect. You have to come out of all of this as this like super like perfect emotions, very stable, very back to normal, like nothing ever happened type of person. You know what I mean? You're always going to have some things that stick with you that will trigger you. So don't feel like you have to come out as like this super, super, super perfect person. However, just know that you can heal from a lot of it, and you can literally go from very, very, very unhealed and just lost and hurt to very, very, very healed and whole and ready to take on this world, okay? Trust me. I'm a product of it, all right? Next, we have stop looking for answers and apologies, okay? This is a big one, you guys, because this was something I didn't understand as a kid, right? I was thinking, all right, if I'm the kid, why do I act more mature than this person? If I'm the kid, why do I have to apologize and this person doesn't? And mind you, this person is an adult, right? So why is it that I, as a kid, have to take the blame every time? Why is it that I, as a kid, have to make this make sense and unravel it? Why is it that I, as a kid, have to be the person to kind of keep the peace, or to not stir the pot, or to have to withhold my emotions because I don't want you to get mad and then say it's me? Like, you gotta tiptoe around, you gotta find out ways to navigate, you gotta like basically become the adult. And I always wondered, well, why can't I get an apology? You did this to me. You hurt me. You've been doing this for years, right? I've never received an apology. My feelings have never been considered. Or answers, right? Why do you act like this? Why are you a grown adult acting like this? What happened to you? What made you act like this? Let's get down to the bottom of it. What trauma have you incurred that you've never dealt with, that you've never talked about, that you've never healed from, that's now making you treat me like this, right? And what happened to her? And what happened to him? And what happened to them? Because I need to know all of it back as far as we can go to figure out why he acts like this, and then he had you who acts like this, and then y'all two had them, and now they, like it's a whole thing, right? But you guys, you can't keep looking for apologies and answers, because sometimes you may not receive them, and you don't want to count on that and use that as your basis for whether or not you're going to keep going, or whether or not you can bring yourself yourself to keep going. You know what I mean? Because honestly, it's something that sometimes you get, and it's something that you get if the other person or the other people are willing to do their part in the healing process. But a lot of times they're not. And you can't expect that from people, even adults. And I should be saying especially adults. Sometimes I feel like a kid will give you an apology before an adult, which is unfortunate. Last but not least, you have a divine purpose on your life. You guys, once again, I'm not here to push religion or spirituality, but I do believe in God, and I do believe that so many people are put on this earth to teach other people. Their mission and their purpose is to touch other people, to help other people, to show other people what true love is, to show other people how to work in their power, to build confidence in others. And you are put here for a purpose because you are meant to break these generational curses in your family. How amazing is that these generational curses and these toxic behaviors have gone on for 100 years in your family, and you get to break them? That is powerful. That is something that you should be proud of. And for you to teach your mother something, teach your uncle something, teach your grandfather something about how a family unit is supposed to operate, about the things that they did that were traumatizing to you, or the things that they did that broke down the family structure even more, right? The things that they did that caused your brother to go to jail, the things that they didn't do that caused your sister to be on drugs, whatever it may be, right? Like, it's a very, very, very powerful purpose, and you are here on a mission, and God is going to help you get through it. He's going to guide you. It's not going to be easy, you guys. Trust me. It's challenging. And if I were to go back and look at like some of the days I had, some of the experiences I had, and I remember those moments and just sitting there like, yo, can I really do this? Like, is this real life right now for me? But, you know, you just keep on going, knowing that you are special, and you will get those people along the way that will see you, and they'll know, like, this girl or this guy, they've got it. You know what I mean? I'm going to support them. I'm going to give them those uplifting, encouraging words. And that's what keeps you going. You know what I mean? People don't realize sometimes those check-ins are what keeps you going. Those positive words, those affirmations, those compliments, that's what keeps you going. People seeing you overcome those obstacles, it's what keeps you going. Okay, you guys? So just know, when it gets hard, when the going gets tough, when you feel like giving up, when you're wondering if it's worth it, when you're feeling like it's unfair, you were put here for a purpose. You have to fulfill your purpose. All right, you guys? So that's the end of this chit chat about being the black sheep of the family. All my black sheep, just know that we are amazing. The black sheep turns into the goat. We got things to do. We got things to accomplish. We've got money to make. We've got life to live. We've got great experiences and great blessings coming our way. Okay, so don't give up. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.